Hi and welcome to my channel. Today is the beginning of a very special series of 8 readings which I'm doing in the lead up to this year's 888 portal. Now the 888 portal is happening on the 8th of August 2024, being this year 2024, adding up to an 8. So it is the 888 portal. This portal is the beginning of the spiritual new year. It aligns the sun, which will be in Leo, with Sirius, Orion's belt, and Earth. Now, the 888 portal is an activation where the past meets the future. It's an energetic spiritual moment of clarity where we recognize the connection between the past and the present, in and around the karmic cycles that we have been in, gaining a spiritual understanding of the links between those. Now, previous 888 portals, because they only happen every 9 years, and I'm going to go back. So 1970, 1988, 1997, 2006, 2015, 2024, and the next one won't happen until 2033. Now, the number 8 is karma. So we all learn lessons in life, but for me, these 888 portals are the biggest spiritual lessons that we learn. There are 3 cards in the tarot, and these actually align with placements, with the astrology placements at the time. So we've got 3 8s here, 888. The first is the Strength card, which is the Sun in Leo. The Strength card represents Leo. Obviously, there's a lion on there, and I've drawn the infinity symbol, which is the 8. So the Strength card. Then we have the 8 of Swords, which is Jupiter in Gemini. The things that bind, the lessons that we learn, how we're stuck in the lessons that we learn, and when we get the strength to understand them on a spiritual level, because the 8 of Swords is being bound. Once you have the strength to understand them, you understand them on a spiritual level. The 8 of Cups, which is Saturn in Pisces, which is another placement that's currently happening at the moment, from June through until the end of November. Saturn is in Pisces. It's a pause where we take a look and reflect on the spiritual nature of things that have happened in the past in order to understand them, unbind ourselves, and be able to walk away from them. The Strength card, the 8 of Swords, and the 8 of Cups. Now, a perfect example of this particular 888 activation, 888 portal, it's called the Lionsgate portal, playing out is in the movie Back to the Future. Now, Michael J. Fox was the character, or was the actor who played that role. And when they were trying to get him to play that role, he was actually contracted on another job. He was on Family Ties, and they wouldn't release him. So they brought a different actor in, I think Eric Stoltz. They brought a different actor in, and it didn't work out. And the universe realigned and found a way for Michael J. Fox to play that role. He was always meant to play that role. Now, that movie was released in 1985, and obviously then we had Back to the Future 2 and Back to the Future 3. So between 1985 and 1990, those 3 movies were released. Now, 1988 was one of those 888 portals. That movie, as we heard Chris Martin say, and if you're not aware, Michael J. Fox, a couple of weeks ago, was invited by the band Coldplay to play with them on stage at Glastonbury. They played the song Fix You. Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's disease. And Chris Martin said while he was on stage with Michael J. Fox, that movie Back to the Future inspired them to form the band Coldplay. Something from the past connecting to something from the future. Ironically, Coldplay was formed in 1997, which again was another year of the 888 portal. And this year, 2024, when they invited him to play with them on stage at Glastonbury, is again another 888 portal year. As I said, that role was always meant to be played by Michael J. Fox. And if we look at the Strength card, it closed the loop from the start to the end of that spiritual journey between those 2 parties. Now, I picked up this card for a reason. The Sun in Leo, the Strength card. gives us the strength to unbind ourselves from the past to walk towards our future. Michael J. Fox is an amazing actor, but that wasn't meant to be the biggest role he played in his life. His spiritual journey began, and as I said, the 8-8 portal, or the 888 portal, is the beginning of the spiritual new year. His biggest role in life was meant to be an activist for Parkinson's disease. That man, that incredible man, has raised over $2 billion in Parkinson's research in the last 30 years. His acting career was a catalyst to an even bigger spiritual role. So as I go through these readings, these 8 readings that I'm going to do, I'm going to be tapping into energies of this realignment as part of this 888 portal, this realignment that we will go through, or that we have been going through. And my aim is that you will be able to reflect back on things that have happened to you previously and connect them with the future. Now, in that movie, Back to the Future, the DeLorean, to time travel, ironically, had to go 88 miles an hour. So finally, what I'm going to do is, these are a set of activation cards. Now, if you've not been to my channel before, welcome. I'm an intuitive tarot reader, but I'm also an illustrator, and part of my own spiritual journey has been to connect my intuitive side with my creative side. So last year, in the 8-8 portal last year, I created a range of cards. All of the cards I use on my channel are my own designs, my own illustrations, but specifically last year in the 8-8 portal, I created a range of activation cards. This is called my 888 activation deck, and if you are interested in any of my cards, the links to them can be found in the description box. But this particular range of cards, 8 separate designs. Now these are large format, so when I draw them initially, they are huge big pieces of art, and then obviously they're condensed down. Now each card has a specific meaning, and they are going to be each of the 8 readings that I do. I drew them with the intention of doing this reading at this point in time. So this intro I will use at the beginning of all of those 8 readings. They've all been recorded now, and the first one will go up today, and they will be released over the next 8 days. 1 reading each day for the next 8 days. So I'll also put them in a 888 Lionsgate activation playlist that you can find if you're wanting to go back and have a look at any of the other readings. I really enjoyed doing these readings. As I said, they've all been recorded. Some of my most favorite readings that I've done. So please take the time to have a look at those. Lots and lots of information in there, which may give you clarity as to the spiritual journey that you've been on and where it connects the past, the present, and potentially the future. So I will see you in your reading. Hi, and welcome to today's reading. Today's reading is the 3rd in a series of 8 readings that I'm doing in the lead up to the 2024 888 portal. So you will have already watched the intro. If you haven't, there is messages in there that relate to this reading, but I just recorded 1 intro for all 8 readings so that I didn't miss any information. So today's reading, I have lots and lots of messages coming through overnight. I've had a couple of dreams, and I did a big random shuffle on my playlist of my liked songs on Spotify. I received messages through music that align with other messages that come through, whether they be in dreams or just general downloads. So the card that I've chosen for you today, as I said, this is part of my 888 activation deck. These cards are designed for you to sit and meditate on, to see what information you can draw through from them. Now, if you're a tarot reader, you can use them in readings, but for personal use, they are a really good tool and act as a point of focus so that messages can come through. So this particular card, and I'm going to bring it up, hopefully it will focus. This particular card is called Event Horizon. Now, it was actually named, my daughter helped me name the cards. It was actually named by her, and I didn't know what Event Horizon was until this morning when I actually searched it up. You may already know, but an event horizon is the point of no return. It's a boundary of a region of space-time from where one cannot escape once entered. And it aligns perfectly with the messages that are coming through for this particular reading. Now, as I said in the intro, this 888 portal, we are looking at the Strength card, which is the number 8 card. It is Leo and the Sun. We are looking at Venus, and I wanted to say Venus in Pisces, but that's actually wrong. But there's something in reference to that, Venus in Pisces. We are looking at the 8 of Cups, which is Saturn in Pisces. That's walking away. Event horizon, the point of no return. Once you've made a decision to walk away from something, the point of no return. Now, Saturn is in Pisces at the moment. So Saturn is our karmic teacher and Pisces is spirituality. But currently, Saturn is in Pisces through until November the 29th, and it's in retrograde. So it's a pause and a reflection on our journey, on the journey that we are in the throes of. The other card in the 3 cards that make up this 888 portal is the 8 of Swords. Now, the 8 of Swords is Jupiter in Gemini. That is being bound by something, and this spiritual enlightenment that allows for the release of that binding. It was interesting because there was heaps of songs coming through when I did my random shuffle this morning, and I didn't sleep very well last night. I had a couple of dreams. At the moment, I'm not sleeping very well at all. It may be something that you are experiencing. So I often I go to bed early, I'll sit in my bed and I'll just put some meditation music on, and normally what happens is I fall asleep and then I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm still sat there, kind of, make it nice and comfy. So I've got all, pillows and stuff that I'm propped up on, but I'm sat up, I'm not sleeping. And so I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I've had broken sleep, but I can't go back to sleep. These are all things that often happen in a spiritual awakening. So I edited a video this morning and then I uploaded it, and then I was just trying to go back to sleep before the rest of the house got up, trying to get that last bit of an hour worth of sleep in, and I just put my songs on random shuffle, and there was about 15-20 songs that came through, and they were all really higgledy-piggledy. Nothing really made sense, and I think it was purely that I was just so sleep deprived. And eventually in the midst of these songs playing, I sort of nodded off for about an hour, and I had 2 dreams. The first dream, I was dreaming that I was sat up in bed trying to fall asleep. So I was dreaming about exactly what I was doing. Sat up in bed, listening to music, trying to fall asleep. And that beep outside is confirmation. And there's dogs barking. So the dream that I had was I was sat up in my bed, but I was asleep. I was meditating, kind of drifting in and out of sleep. And there was some random toddler walking around the outside of my house and kind of past the windows and doors that go out of my bedroom on the outside. So I've got doors that go out to my outside area. But this baby was crying. It wasn't my baby. I don't know whose baby it was, but it was just literally wandering around the outside of my house. And my instinct was to open the door and let it inside. And I was so focused on trying to stop it from crying. But in the back of my mind, I thought, there's a snake. Because I hadn't closed the door. I left it open a little bit. And my fear was that a snake was going to come inside the house. So that was the first dream. The second dream, I was at a music festival. Now, the past 4 years, I've gone through a huge spiritual awakening. Kind of begun just before COVID. A friend who was really unwell, who ended up passing away. And that was, for me, a catalyst. So that, again, that might be something that resonates with you. But during that time, because we were sort of trapped inside our houses, it was almost the universe's way to prime an opportunity for us to all go through some sort of spiritual reflection on where we were. So in this dream, it was me. I was sitting in a chair in a music festival. Now, I don't go to music festivals. I'm older. Not my cup of tea. Too loud, too many people. So I was sitting in this chair, in like a camp chair. And some guy came and sat in the chair with me. I was kind of looking at him like, what are you doing? And our legs were touching because he was literally sat beside me, but almost on top of me. You can't really fit two people in a camp chair. And I remember turning to him and saying, what are you doing? Because he'd said to me, oh, our legs are touching. And then got really offended. He had misinterpreted the fact that we were sat so close as some sort of invitation. Then the dream flicked over to this young girl, and we were standing there with a group of people, all quietly, just standing there minding our own business. This young girl comes bowling over and quite in your face introduces herself to all of us, but it was still dark. It was probably about 5 o'clock in the morning, so it was still dark, so we couldn't really make out who she was or what she meant by just kind of bowling into our conversation. And so we all sort of stood there, almost taken a bit aback at how, I don't know if the word is forthright, just at how full on she was. And I remember saying to her, oh, hi, sorry, I was just a bit taken aback. My name is, and she turned to me and she said, too late. You lost your chance at getting to know me. And my response to her was, well, I was happy sitting here on my own. I actually really didn't want to get to know you anyway. It's almost this miscommunication. People in two worlds. And I think it will unravel more as the reading goes on, because I'm still trying to unpack it. I kind of know what the baby dream was about, but I'm going to keep going. So the other thing that was coming through when I was drifting in and out, I kept hearing right on time. Whatever is happening at the moment, whatever is happening as part of the activation for you for this 888 portal is right on time. It's divine timing. So the songs that were coming through, the first one I got was Behind That Locked Door. Now that was a song that George Harrison wrote about Bob Dylan, who had hermited and found spirituality. So I don't know a lot about Bob Dylan. I know some of the songs, but my understanding is that he had this huge public persona through the beginning of his music career, and then he stepped away. So that song, Behind That Locked Door, was about Bob Dylan, who, as I said, had hermited and found spirituality. Now, that song that George Harrison wrote, he wrote for Bob Dylan because there was a point in time where Bob Dylan had to come back into the spotlight. He attended a music festival, which may have been part of the reason why I was at a music festival. That dream that I said makes sense now. He had to come back to this music festival and he didn't really want to. He'd been offered lots of different opportunities to come and perform at different things in the lead up to, and he kept turning them back because he had found spirituality. Who he was different from who he had been previously in his spiritual journey. The name of that song, Behind That Locked Door, George Harrison almost saying to him, open the door and come back out again, but come back out who you are now. And he performed that song, and at that music festival, the consensus from the media was that it was a lackluster performance, but it was because they were interested in who he was before, not who he had grown into. The second song that I got was Aquaphobia. Now that's from The Truman Show, the movie The Truman Show. If you haven't watched that movie, amazing movie, but it's also about a spiritual journey. Truman living in this man-made dome, essentially. He was an orphan child, and they created a whole storyline about him and all of the people within the world that he lived in. Aside from him, he was living his own life, but all of the people around him were all actors, and it was being broadcast. It was like this massive reality TV show, but he wasn't aware. And so that show was about a spiritual awakening, aquaphobia. But that particular song, in the narrative of the storyline, there had been some conditioning. They had conditioned him to believe that his father, who was also an actor, had drowned out at sea. So the only way for Truman to escape, and once he started to realize the lies around him, the only escape for him out of essentially that movie set was across the water. But he had a phobia of the water because he had been conditioned to believe that water meant drowning. And so it kept him. This is about a journey of enlightenment. So when I did my pre-shuffle, and as I said, we've got Event Horizon, that card, the point of no return, boundary of a region of space-time from which one cannot escape. So he couldn't escape, but once he realized he couldn't go back. So once he realized the lie that he was living, he couldn't go back. That is a spiritual awakening. And as I said, the last 4 years for me has been massive. So 13, the card that came out when I was doing my pre-shuffle, friendships. The friendships that you've had. The realization of the perhaps untruths or the lies within the friendships that you've had. The Ten of Pentacles was another card that came out. Now, 10s are the end. But 10s, in this context, are an illusion. For Truman, it was the life that he was leading. But everybody in his life were actors. It was all a lie. If you think about Bob Dylan, a huge music career, massive music career. I mean, he was literally one of the best musicians of all time. But he had this huge spiritual awakening. He'd seen through the illusion. When I think about that dream about the little baby, my natural instinct was to go and let this baby inside. The things that you are conditioned to do, for me as a mother, the things that you are conditioned to do. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, hang on a minute, I've left the door open. The snakes can get in, the lies can get in. The dream I had at the music festival, somebody coming, sitting on my chair, encroaching in my spiritual bubble. And then that other girl coming in and kind of almost insert herself into a conversation that was quietly being had, and then getting offended when it wasn't the way she wanted it to be. The other songs that were coming through, or the other things that were coming through. And I got an image in my meditation this morning of the High Priestess card and the Tower. Now, the combination of those two cards is your crown chakra being blown wide open, which is a spiritual awakening. Your crown chakra is your spiritual insight, your intuitive insight, and it's been blown right open. And when I look at this event horizon, a boundary of a region of space-time from which one cannot escape once entered. Once you have been given the gift of spiritual enlightenment, you can see what others cannot see. You can pick up, you almost levitate above is what I want to say. The other thing I was getting was, and with that crown chakra being blown open, I was getting being lit up like a Christmas tree. Now, in that random shuffle, and I didn't know why I was getting it. The first song I actually got was Dynamite by BTS. And interestingly, that song actually came out during COVID. But when you think about dynamite, your crown chakra has been blown up. The other songs, there was a couple of them that had Christmas tree themes. I've got Christmas songs on my, it's just a whole big playlist, like 4,000 or 5,000 songs. And I just put it on random shuffle. I got a couple of the Christmas songs with the title Christmas Tree. And that was one of the things that I was hearing when I was dozing in and out of sleep. Your crown chakra has been lit up like a Christmas tree. And I only just pieced it together about 5 minutes before this reading. I was like, why am I getting Christmas songs? It doesn't make any sense. But your crown chakra has been lit up like a Christmas tree. You've come out like that song, behind that locked door. You've come out from behind that locked door like Bob Dylan did. And you can't see things like you did before. You can't engage in things the way you did before because you have spiritual insight now. You have the gift of discernment because your crown chakra has been blown up with a stick of dynamite and is now lit up like a Christmas tree. So the other cards I got, which is the Fool. Now the Fool is the 0 card. It's a new beginning, a new point on your spiritual journey. The Fool card is also Uranus. So it's Aquarius, but it's Uranus. Now Uranus is earthquakes. A spiritual earthquake that you've had, potentially, number 13, in and around the circles of people that you interacted with previously. Maybe you just can't connect with them anymore. Number 13, that's a 4. When I think of a 4, I think of the 4 of Swords, which is a spiritual timeout. Oftentimes, a spiritual awakening happens after some sort of heartbreak. Now, the 3 of Swords comes before the 4 of Swords. So 3 of Swords is heartbreak, some sort of heartbreak, maybe within friendship groups. But as I said, for me, it was somebody was close to me who passed away. That then opened my eyes to the rest of what was going on. And what I thought was my 10 of Pentacles, the things that I was doing in my life that made up this Truman Dome of what I was doing in my life. And it was all an illusion. The other song I got was Fake by Love. Love. Okay, so we're going to get some, actually finally, this card here, and I'm just going to read them out because they may be important to you. So a lot of these angel cards actually align with dates. So this particular angel is Isabel. That angel is the soul guardian for people born from 4 a.m. to 4:20 a.m. Is the moral guardian for those born the 1st of April, the 12th of June, the 23rd of August, the 3rd of November, or the 14th of January, and the physical guardian for those born from the 19th to the 23rd of May. Now, the moral guardian for those born on the 1st of April, the first thing I think of, sorry, that was a water bottle falling over. The thing that I think of, the Fool card, 1st of April is April Fool. You won't be fooled anymore. Your spiritual awakening has woken you up and you won't be fooled anymore. Let's get going. First card out, we've got the 6 of Wands. That is victory after a long battle. That is also Jupiter. Let me just pop those there. Jupiter in Leo. Ten of Swords. Again, we've got a 10 and a 10. It's the end of a cycle. Some sort of heartbreak that's popped you on the path of your spiritual journey, that's blown your crown chakra wide open, and now you can't see things the way that you saw them before. 2 of Pentacles and the 4 of Wands. The 2 of Pentacles is Jupiter in Capricorn, so we know it's 2 Jupiter cards. Jupiter is luck. Jupiter is expansion, actually. As I said, your crown chakra has been blown open, expanded, enlightenment. And I think actually, event horizon, does that then go into a black hole? Jupiter in Capricorn and the 4 of Wands, which is Venus in Aries. I'll pop those there. So the 10 of Swords is the Sun in Gemini. And when I think of the 2 of Pentacles, in this deck, it's actually drawn as an infinity sign. And the infinity is sideways 8. Some sort of heartbreak has led to an enlightenment, which is now giving you more balance and setting you on a course. 4 of Wands is celebration. It's a new road, a new journey towards a favorable outcome. It's also the marriage card. So, take it as it resonates. You may have removed yourself from some sort of situation where the 10 of Pentacles is, in the traditional drawing, husband, wife, house, dog, that sort of thing. Some sort of illusion like the Truman Show. Or, for example, for Bob Dylan, the realization that where he was in terms of his public image was not where he wanted to be spiritually. The music that he was creating was not, as I said, when he came out and performed at that music festival with his new music, it didn't go down very well. But from a spiritual aspect, it was more connected with him. The Chariot on the bottom. The Chariot is number 7, which is Cancer. Number 7 again is that Jupiter, that expansion. But the Chariot is what takes you from one destination to another, from point A to point B, from point A to point B. That crown chakra awakening that takes you on that journey to enlightenment. Yeah, look at that. That's death and rebirth. That's Scorpio. The death card. It's also Pluto. And at the moment, we are in a Pluto and Aquarius transit. Now, Pluto is the planet of transformation. We've got Aquarius here, Pluto and Aquarius. Judgment card is also Pluto. But it's death and rebirth. It's a new beginning. Now, who you were potentially a couple of years ago is not who you are anymore. And this 888 Lionsgate portal, which is the 8th of August 2024, is either activating this in you, or it's tying up this loose end, or it is that final event horizon. You are now reaching the point of which you cannot escape once entered, that point of spiritual enlightenment. Too many. Let's look at this 10 of Swords. What have we got here? The 3 of Cups. The 3 of Cups is Mercury in Cancer. You can read it 2 ways. It's a celebration. This journey that you're on to your new 4 of Wands is a celebration because it is a new beginning, a death and rebirth. On the flip side, if we're reading it underneath the 10 of Swords, potentially it's the toxic patterns that you were in with people. And it can be something as simple as, maybe you decided just to not drink anymore. And so now you don't connect, and we've got it under the friendship card. Now you don't connect. You don't like how you feel when you use substances anymore. So now you don't connect with the friendships that you had. 3 Cups there is going out and drinking. You're on a new journey. We've got the Tower card. Now, I did say that. The Tower card is your crown chakra being blown wide open with that stick of dynamite lit up like a Christmas tree. The Tower is Mars. Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is Aries, Leo, Sag. This is a new journey that is being gifted to you. The aces are gifts from God that is being gifted to you because you've gone on this journey of enlightenment. Like Truman. I'm sorry if you've watched that movie or if you haven't watched that movie, but the journey that he goes through to break free from the shackles of, I want to say, the Matrix. 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is Mars in Pisces. Mars here. The crown chakra, and Pisces is spiritual. Pisces is your spirituality. So at the moment, Saturn is in Pisces, as I said, until November 29. Reflecting back on the journey that you've been on. Now next year in January, the North nodes, which stay in 2 signs for 18 months. The North node is currently in Aries and the South node is in Libra. Aries is your individuality. It's self. Aries is self. That's the North node. Where you are going, you are focusing on self. Did I say South node? Aries is the North node. You are meant to be focusing on self. Your point of destiny is focusing on self. The South node is in Libra. Libra is the relationships that you have, the friendships. We had the friendship card. And it is breaking away from the comfort zone of friendships which no longer align with you spiritually. And it's happening. Those two placements have been there since the middle of 2023. So this might be something that you've been working through all the way up until the end of January 2025. So 6 months time. And then the nodes change, and the node changes into Pisces. The 10 of Cups is Pisces. Mars, which is spiritual enlightenment, blowing your crown chakra open. The gift of discernment that you get, lighting it up like a Christmas tree. Because in January, the North Node changes into Pisces, and for 18 months, from January right through until June of 2026, collectively, we are on this massive spiritual journey, a new beginning with the Fool card. So everything is lining up the way it's meant to. We've got the Sun underneath, that's enlightenment. Everything is lining up. Just going to get some more on these. Too many. Yeah, the Two of Wands is Mars in Aries. That's setting the intention for a new journey. What is your life going to look like? And as I said, we've got Saturn in Pisces at the moment. Saturn is your karmic teacher. A reflection, because Saturn currently is retrograde. A reflection, looking back at where you've been and making plans, which is the Two of Wands, for where you are going. A spiritual truth, the Ace of Swords, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. It's spiritual enlightenment. The Hangman is an epiphany. That, and look, it's above the crown chakra, being blown to bits. That enlightenment that you get. The Hanged Man is Neptune. Neptune is the bottom of the ocean, going down to the spiritual depths of who you are as a soul. One more. Too many. And we've got the Fool. The other card that wanted to come out was the Eight of Swords. Now, the Eight of Swords is part of this 888 portal. The Fool card, as I said, is Uranus. So it's a spiritual awakening, a spiritual earthquake, but it's a new beginning. But the Eight of Swords, which was the other card that wanted to come out, I'm going to get it actually. I'll find it. It's on the top. That's funny. The Eight of Swords, which is Jupiter in Gemini, which is the current transit at the moment. It's a transit until June next year. It's the release. It's the new journey that comes from the release of outdated thinking. That release that comes from this Tower. And on the bottom, the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is, again, the Sun in Gemini. We had the Ten of Swords here. The Ten of Swords is the Sun in Gemini as well. So the Page of Swords and the Ten of Swords are the same. The end and a new beginning. Okay, let us get some messages from your guides in terms of this journey that you are on. What do they want to tell you? Deepening the bond. That's deepening the bond with yourself. Remain calm at this time. And as I said to you, in those dreams that I had at the music festival, I was just sitting there quietly, almost just, I love to people watch, almost just watching what everybody was doing, because for me, I have great spiritual insight because I've had that spiritual enlightenment. Sometimes, and I use this all the time, listen and silent are spelt the same way but backwards. You actually find out more about somebody by what they say in their silence, almost. Divine counterpart. Now, this journey that you are on could actually bring you into alignment with other people that are meant to be on your spiritual path. Also, divine counterpart is yourself. The Fool's Journey in Tarot, and we've had these two Fool cards. The Fool's Journey in Tarot is the journey to spiritual enlightenment through all the karmic lessons that we learn. Death and rebirth. And we did have the death card here, but that is spiritual enlightenment. Frustration. Remain calm at this time. If you feel like you are in pause mode at the moment, you are in pause mode for a reason. And I think of that Truman movie. He kind of sat back and just kept his mouth shut and absorbed everything that was going on once he had that enlightenment. And nobody knew that he twigged to what was going on. Because if they did, he wouldn't have been able to escape. It might be frustrating, but it's a part of what needs to happen at the moment. Perhaps part of this Saturn in Pisces retrograde. Higher power. You're being guided by a higher power. Really, really at this particular time, especially with this Ace of Swords here, and as I said, especially with this enlightenment, your crown chakra, you are being given messages everywhere. Remain calm at this time. So as I said this morning, I got 15, 20 songs, and it took me about 3 hours to piece it together. For me, I actually get great insight when I get in the shower. I'm got a lot of water in my birth chart. Go somewhere and sit in the silence, and don't go looking for the answer. It will actually come to you. Go for a walk. For me, I get in the shower, and then all these things, and I'm like, and that was where I was like, oh, I get it. The Christmas tree, it made sense. It's because you're connected to a higher power. Don't be frustrated that you're not getting the answers, because it's not like your higher self, your guides, your ancestors can send you an email or a text message and say, right, point 1, point 2, point 3. It comes through in all different mediums. Fated. Whatever is happening for you at this very time, at this precise moment in time when you are watching this reading, is fated to happen. Perhaps some of the messages that you are picking up, we had the Hangman, the epiphanies that you are getting are through watching tarot readings like this. And if that's the case, and I think I said this in the reading yesterday, I've watched readings from some of my favorite readers from 3 and 4 years ago. Now, I watched them 3 and 4 years ago while I was going through my spiritual awakening. That's how I found tarot. And now some of those readings are reappearing in my, things that you might like to watch, sort of suggested for you on YouTube. And I'm rewatching those readings and thinking to myself, I've watched this before, but I'm picking up so much more information. It's a bit like Game of Thrones. If you've ever watched Game of Thrones, I think I've watched that whole series maybe 10 or 15 times. And every time I watch it, every episode that I watch, there's something new. There's layers upon layers upon layers, and it's all part of this spiritual enlightenment. Fated bits of pieces of the puzzle on all different layers that you're meant to get at different times. Divine intervention and third party. Now, divine intervention, and I was thinking, I should have said it, you're being guided by a higher power. And I was talking about the Truman Show. He had to keep it quiet, but there were people within that movie that were trying to give him messages, which is actually what sparked him having that aha moment that something wasn't as it seemed. It was a third party, a tarot reader, a song, something wasn't as it seemed. But on the flip side, divine intervention, which is, I think somebody came and delivered something to him, or somebody ran up the beach or something in the beginning of the movie. But that was divine intervention. The other thing is, divine intervention is once you start going through this journey of enlightenment, once a higher power, the man upstairs, sees that you are breaking away from the constraints, this Eight of Swords, of the life that you knew. That's my dog snoring. He's never done that in his life. Once you are, there's something in that. What does that mean, dog snoring? He's content. He's content in your energy. That's what I will say to you. Once you are breaking away from the thing that has kept you trapped, you will get divine intervention from the man upstairs. You will get help. What's that song? Hang on, help is on its way. You will get help in extracting you from the situation. And it may come in the form of physical help. It may come in the form of little fragments of information to help get you unstuck. But remain calm at this time. As I said, Truman kept... Wait till you see this card. Truman kept things quiet. The truth is being revealed. You're being given nuggets of wisdom. And it can come through songs, it can come through tarot readings, it can come through dreams, can come through animals. Now, I don't know what that little snore means, but you may. That might be something that resonates with you. Number 19, fulfillment, wisdom, and divine blessings. We had the Ace of Wands here. Number 19. I'm not going to try and say it. Lure? Allure. A lure is something that they use to catch a fish. If you think about the Truman Show, this little orphan boy was a lure for that company to make money, 10 of Pentacles, off him. A third party to make money off him. Fated to happen that way, a third party to make money off him until he recognized the truth. And of course, once he recognized the truth, then that was the end of their money making. All of those people, all of those actors. And I mean, that show, well, in the show, it was broadcast to the world. They would have been making millions and millions of dollars. And he was in his 30s or 40s. It had been the longest running show in history. Go and watch the movie if you haven't watched it. It is really eye-opening. But that's that baby in the dream. The baby was crying. They were conditioning him. They were actually accessing, they were manipulating him through his conditioning so they could sneak in the back door. So in that dream, I was manipulated. My mothering instinct kicked in when this baby was walking around outside my house. I opened the door to let the baby in, to stop it from crying. But opening the door meant that a snake could slide in. Now, I've never had a snake in my house in my life, but in that dream, that's what it meant. The conditioning of the people around you. If you think about Bob Dylan, the lure, that baby was a lure. In that dream, the baby was the lure, so the snake could get in. For Bob Dylan, the lure of coming back onto the stage, even though he'd made the decision to step away. Interesting. Number 37, Aniel, 10 and a 10. Philosophical knowledge in the arts and sciences. The arts and sciences is music, movies, books. Science is event horizon. There are messages written for you everywhere. As I said, in movies, like this morning, those 20 songs combined with the sciences, event horizon, this card, combined with movies that I've seen, all, for me, like as I'm doing this reading, I'm going ding, ding, ding. It's all a journey of enlightenment. Listen and silent are spelt the same way. The messages that you receive from the higher power, the truth that's being revealed from a higher power comes in the silence. Number 44. 44 is a card of protection, success. Yeah, look at that. 47. Divine contemplation. The messages that you get in the silence. When you connect divine, that's you connecting with your divine self. This reading is really beautiful. The messages that you get in the silence. Now, 10, 10. We had 10 somewhere else. 10, 10, 10, 10. The 10-10 portal is in October. It is the soulmate gateway. It is an activation of soul contracts for the coming 12 months. Obviously, 10-10 portal happens every year, the 10th of October. The ending of soul contracts, but the ignition of new ones. The lighting up of new ones. As I said, we did have divine counterpart here. Now, divine counterpart, obviously that is romantic relationships, but as I said, it can also be a relationship with yourself, a spiritual relationship that you have with yourself, an enlightenment, the spiritual journey that you're on that actually puts you on the path of who is your true soul family. Okay, let's get you a moon oracle card. Wheels are turning. Void of course moon, brace for no outcome. But I'm reading that card. If you can see, the wheels are turning. Even though it says brace for no outcome, you've already started this journey. The ball is already rolling. If you think of, I'm getting this image of, like a ball rolling down a hill, like an avalanche, and it's picking up things as it goes. Once you've begun a spiritual journey, you can't go back. Event horizon, the point of no return, boundary of a region of space-time from which one cannot escape once entered. Void, of course, that to me, that's a black hole. The journey has started. Okay, I'm going to get you a song. I'm just going to see if there's anything in my song deck that gives us any more information. I know we've had about 1 billion songs, but Shape of My Heart, Backstreet Boys, baby, please try to forgive me. Stay here, don't put out the glow. Hold me now, don't bother. If every minute it makes me weaker, you can save me from the man that I've become. Looking back on the things that I've done, I was trying to be someone. I played my part, kept you in the dark. Now let me show you the shape of my heart. That's the spiritual journey that you've been on. The changes that you've made. I played my part, kept you in the dark. Like Truman, he was in the dark. Okay, I'm going to get, this is my Nodes of Destiny deck. Let's have a look at anything that you need to know. I'm just going to get 2 cards in regards to your destination. Okay, so South Node is what you need to release. The 11th house South Node. You're as slick as a ninja's blade, but don't freeze over that heart of gold. Sprinkle in some love and creativity for a toasty twist. This zone is all about kicking back, expanding spiritually, and blossoming into a fresh and I'm going to start again. Expanding spiritually and blossoming into a fresh and fabulous you. 2 Fool cards, a new journey, a new spiritual journey based on enlightenment, based on this new gift of discernment that you've got, and based on this crown chakra being blown wide open, South Node in the 6th house, South Node kicking back in the 6th house. You're a natural born helper, but hey, it's time to retire the worry and ditch the overthinking. Trust in yourself and cosmic blueprint. It's all about stepping out of that cozy spiritual nest to spread your wings and soar. So that goes back to my initial thoughts on Libra being in the South Node. You're a natural born helper. So maybe you are staying in friendships, in relationships, friendships we had here, with people because you feel obliged, even though you know that spiritually that person isn't aligned with you anymore. It's a bit of that people pleasing, but this is the time. It's saying South Node is what you are leaving. In that dream, you know, that person came up and wanted to be friends with everybody. And I just sort of turned around and was like, you know what? I'm actually happy on my own. I don't need to make friends with 1,000 people. I'm on my own. I was going to turn that over, but I don't know, there's obviously something here. South Node in the 2nd house. South Node chilling in the 2nd house. Your tough independence is like a superhero cape, but sometimes it's like wearing a cape when you're trying to blend in. Time to loosen the grip on people and stuff to level up your bond with yourself and the gang. This zone is where our spirit kicks back. It's the stuff we need to ditch to sprout some wings. It was meant to turn it over because it's about releasing relationships that no longer serve you. If I think about Bob Dylan, how many times did he say no to various comebacks at music festivals that he didn't want to do because he knew that they didn't align with him anymore? And I don't know, maybe he felt obliged because George Harrison wrote him that song, Behind the Locked Door, almost trying to lure him out. Now, we had that word before, lure him out, lure him back on to this stage, and it didn't work. Why? Because it was time for him to loosen the grip on people and stuff, to level up your bond with yourself. He was meant to be in hermit mode. And if you're anything like me, you know, I'm quite happy on my own. I don't need 1 million people anymore. Okay, this is my love messages oracle deck. Now, if this relates to some sort of relationship for you, take those messages. I'm only going to get a couple. I'm taking these as messages from your higher self. I'm making plans. We had that before, the 2 of Wands. Making plans because you are on a spiritual journey, making plans for the new you. Love is the greatest healer. That is that internal reflection, that spiritual journey that you are on. And part of it is a journey of loving yourself and breaking bad habits. Now that came out upside down, which suggests to me that you've already begun that. Yeah, I want to try. A new beginning for you. Okay, now finally, I'm going to get some Scrabble tiles. This could be your first, middle, last initial, something that pertains to this journey that you've been on. Just take that as it resonates. It's just extra confirmation. If there's things in here that don't resonate with you, that's okay. Just leave it for somebody else. Okay, we have a Y and a 4. A D and a 2. A Q, D-Day. That concert that Bob Dylan went to somewhere in England was called D-Day because it was the return for him. Well, the media pitched it as D-Day, the return for him to the public stage, D-Day. And an A. D-Day. D and a 2, an A and a 1, and a G and a 4. But he didn't want to do it. A J and an 8. An X and an 8. An X. It was part of his past. JX. An I and a 1. An L and a 1. Ill. an E, and a 1. This is the name Eli. 3 1s there. An S and a 1. An R and a 1. Time for you to rise spiritually. A Z and a 10. A T and a 1. A K and a 5. An M and a 3. M3 is the highway, the major highway in the state that I live in, with a chariot there. A spiritual journey. M and a 3. And a B and a 3. So that is what I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. If the reading resonated with you, please give it a like. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I do post regularly. As I said, this is the 3rd reading in an 8-part series. I will make a Lionsgate 888 portal playlist, so you can find the other readings in there if you want to come back. I'll be loading them up each day. If you are interested in any of my tarot or oracle decks, I'm not sure whether I said that, but all of the decks that I use on my channel are my own illustrations, my own designs, and they are available if you are called to any of them. The links to those can be found in the description box. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you all the best on your journey, and I will see you again in another reading.